Okay, hello. So, what I wanted to try today is to see if I can host an application on my local network and see without exposing my private computer or my home IP or everything, if I can route that traffic from the internet, right? So this is kind of like a little experiment. Be able to host those applications on my servers or VMs locally, and then be able to access those on the internet to some friends. Normally, you will use something like Tailscale, which allows you to share those computers with others and be able to build what's called a tailnet. It's kind of like a subnet or a private network with your friends and family. But in this particular case, what I wanted to do is just route that from the internet, expose an application or a server or whatever through, of course, HTTPS to my specific application. So that's kind of like the idea, what I wanted to achieve. And for that, I had this idea of using Fly Private's network, which uses Wireguard. It's called 6PN because this is an IPv6, and then route that to from an application running on Fly to using that private network to a node that is running inside my home network that is connected to that private network. So ideally we'll have the web, we'll go through Fly app, which then will use the WireGuard VPN to connect to my VM, right? So what I'm thinking to use for that, I'm going to use for the Fly application, I'm going to use Caddy as an easy server. And on my local, I will have a small Alpine Linux VM, right, running Nginx just for the purposes of like making sure that I have an app running. So pretty simple. So I have here a virtual machine, so I'm just going to start it. Um, um, this is an Alpine small VM that has Nginx running. So I'm just going to make sure this put it up, and we have the IP address here, 192.168.122.11. So I'm just going to go to the browser and make sure this is running, and just to confirm that that's the thing that we're doing, I'm just going to SSH into that machine, right? And I'm going to edit the sorry, going to edit the welcome to small VM, right? So if we do that, refresh here, I got it on the title. I should have edited here on the body. It's just to make it more easy, right? To see if I do perfect. Okay, so that's working on my local machine. Now, what we're going to need to do is, if we read the information about private networks and how that works on fly.io, basically what we need to do is see if we can provision or see, yeah, kind of like how you can provision the private network and how you can then connect your the tunnel to test it from your local machine, things like that. So before we do that, I would like to just to see how that works, because I haven't tested. Like, you read the documentation, and one thing is reading the docs, and the other one is trying. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy a Caddy web server to Fly as an application. Now that we already have the Alpine Linux running on my local, I can go and test it. I'm just going to exit from here, and I'm just going to do curl to that IP, and I get the document, so that means that that's working, it's accessible on my machine. Now what I'm going to do is to see if I can deploy an application to Fly, and then be able to see if I can access that private network, just to see if things are working. And then what I will try to do later is to see if I can connect that via that small virtual machine to that fly network and see if on the fly network I can see that running, right? So the first thing is I'm just going to do a fly launch, which is going to create a configuration file. It detected that I have a Docker file, so I'm just going to use a generated name. I'm going to use my region, which is going to be Paris, is the one that is close to me. I got a name. No, I don't want a Postgres. I don't want a Redis. I don't want to deploy now. Okay, so I'm just going to open the fly configuration. I got it here. I don't know if this is still experimental, the private network configuration. Just to be safe, I'm just going to add it. Now, something interesting is like internal port. That means the port that is going to be running my application is 8080, and that's going to be mapped to port 80 and port 443 on the server, and it's going to happen to be force HTTPS. So basically, request to port 80, it's going to be redirected to HTTPS, and those HTTPS requests are going to be passed to the internal port on the application. So it's going to be do all the TLS negotiation and all those kind of things. What matters for me here is that the internal port is 8080, meaning that to run Caddy, I will need to indicate that I wanted to run it in port 8080. So what I'm going to take a look to do here is normally on Caddy, the web server, you have a Caddy file that indicates that you can indicate the port that you wanted to run, and then this is what we're going to do later on. We're going to do a reverse proxy to connect to my internal VM. Right now, I'm just for the testing. If I take a look, I'm just going to say it on port 8080. I'm just going to respond with a hello world just to see if things are working. And then on the Docker file, I'm just going to use the latest version of Caddy with a specific version, and then copy that to copy the configuration file that I was just showing to you. Copy to showing here. Copy to the default location for the Caddy container image, right? Okay, so with that default, and that's the part. This is the part that I wasn't sure about the private network. Just in case, by reading the documentation and things like that, it seems that it's no longer experimental, but I'm just going to enable by default. Now, I'm just going to do fly deploy just to get this application deployed. If I understand correctly, this is going to boot up a Docker builder that's going to pull the images and things like that and build a Docker container that's going to run this application in the server. And we can see here that on the dashboard, if I refresh, I have that application Polished Mountain thing. I got the IP, I got the host name information. Of course, we can set up later memory cores and things like that. I don't need that information right now. I'm just going to see a new application is being deployed. It seems from here that how to say configuration Caddy, it's just booting up the application, right? So it seems Caddy run, preparing to run, seems to be running, right? So if I go to, what was the name of my application? Polished Mountain thing. So if I open this, I should get hello world. So this is good. So ideally, this hello world should be replaced by the thing that gets proxied to the terminal. So what I'm going to try now is to see if I can get into that private network on fly. So I'm just going to SSH for that application. So I got into the only instance for that application, and we just need to see if we just do this. Sorry, Caddy. Yeah, this is the one that is running the server, right? What we need to do here is just to see how we can query that network. So if we take a look here, it says you can get for different applications when you query to this server, you can get the IP addresses, the IP6 addresses of the different servers. But what I'm interested now to see is like, how can I see the other stuff that is connected to the network? Because in theory, everything that is on the .internal should be exposed to on this private network. So I'm going to see here, there you go. Here is the, finally you can discover all applications organized by requested the text record associated with apps. Okay, so I'm going to copy this just because it's going to be easier. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to ask for underscore apps and the text record. Oh, okay, I don't have dig. So I'm going to add bin tools. Okay. Interesting. That doesn't work. Oh, interesting. It says different prefix and things like that. Ah, look, he has a different name server. Ah, okay, cool. So if I do that without indicating the, what are those numbers? So it seems to be the prefix, the first three separated parts. So if I just do that without those two things, oh, okay. So that might be an indication of the organization and the application, perhaps. So if we just check for a, and what was the name of this? Polish it mountain thing. Okay, so yeah, those are different numbers than the other ones. But if we query this FDAA3, we should be able to get all the applications that are there. And for example, if I just need to see the IP address of fly, builder, lively, fire, that's a very mouthful name, I get the IP address of that, which is different from the IP address of course, it's going to be different from the IP address of my application. Okay, so that means that I have that private network, I have access. Now, next. So what I wanted to do is have that VM access this private network, and that should be done through a Wireguard connection tunnel thing. So I should be able to do that by creating on my local machine by using fly Wireguard create, and I can go and create a special configuration that I'm going to load on my VM, right? So I'm just going to keep that there, and I'm going to do fly Wireguard create, and I'm going to call it small or Alpine small VM, right? So I'm going to create that configuration. Oh, so create, what's the configuration? It's the org, the region, and the name. So I'm going to do, my org is personal, the region is going to be Charles de Gaulle, which is Paris, and the name I'm going to give it is Alpine small VM. Okay, file name to store, so I'm just going to call it alpine small vm.conf, right? And that should have that should be created here. Perfect. Okay, so with this file, I'm going to transfer this file to my VM. So I'm going to transfer this to that Alpine Linux VM. I'm going to access that, right? I'm there, and I can see the file that I just copied. It's not there. Why it's not there? There we go. Minor details. Okay, cool. We got the configuration. What we need to do, something I'm missing, is installing Alpine on the Alpine Linux install Wireguard itself. So we're going to be able to do this. So I'm just going to do that here. In theory, I should have Alpine Wireguard. I should have Wireguard. But what we need to do first is importing that tunnel configuration on the different things. So it seems that I just need to copy that to the etc Wireguard directory maybe. So I'll see Wireguard. Yes, okay, it's that. So I'm just going to copy that Alpine config to etc Wireguard, right? And I'm going to do a quick connect, and it's going to be Alpine small VM. Oh, I just need to do up. Okay, it seems that has worked. So I should have here, I have a different connection here, and just for the sake of testing, I'm going to ask if I have applications. I don't seem to have them listed here on apps. It should be listed there, but just to confirm, says what will be the IP address of this? Maybe I can just ping the IP address of my app, right? Oh, interesting. Which one is the IP address of my app? I did it before here. Okay, I will copy this IP address and come here, and I will just do ping that IP address, and seems to be working. Okay, if I do curl to that IP address, well, I cannot do curl to that IP address. Illegal get former or missing URL. Maybe it doesn't like IPv6 for pinging. Maybe I can curl, or I can ping the name directly, right? I can ping this name directly. Wow, I can ping the name directly, so I don't need the IP address. So I can just do curl HTTP that. Oh, it's on 8080. Hello world. Okay, that's great news. So I can connect from my small VM. I can connect to my small VM that is running inside my Linux machine, inside my home network, is now tunneling or connecting to the internal caddy server that is running on a fly. Now let's see from the opposite direction if I can get it on the list of text. I don't see it. Okay, so that's a good question. So if I do fly Wireguard list, okay, that's why, is because it got created with interactive agent name. It didn't get created with a specific one. Okay, that's why I cannot access by a name, because what I was reading on the configuration on this thing is that interactive, it says the default generated name will start with interactive, so it's not listed. A default name and region will be used if not provided with it created. In most cases, this is fine. However, the default generated name will start with interactive. If you wish to interact with the peer of its name, sure to specify a name when you're creating. And well, I thought I did, right? Maybe I didn't. If that is the case, I just need to go and do it again, right? So let's create that again. So what I'm going to do, quick down alpine small VM. I will just terminate the link, right? If I take a look to this, I'm just going to say the list of organizations. A slug is personal. Okay, so what I'm going to do is fly Wireguard list. That's the one that I did. I had a small, oh no, look, I had a small VM here listed with the peer IP. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Let's see on status. Alpine, it's unavailable. I'm just going to do quick Alpine small VM, just putting that up again and trying again. The Alpine says service is unavailable. I don't know why, but I have here the IP address. I have here the name. I'm wondering why I don't have it listed here in apps. Can I do AAA and do Alpine small VM? No, I'm not getting it. Can I do ping to that? No. I don't know why it's not being mapped. Right? In theory, it says the full region name will be used if not provided. Oh, which are filled in the peer internal. If you wait to interact the peer by its name, sure to specify its peer name. Maybe I can just do underscore peer. Huh. Okay. If I do text on the peer, internal, when I pass the text, there you go. Okay, so one thing is this is not listed in apps, it's listed in peer. So, but I get it on peer. So if I do ping Alpine small VM underscore peer internal, interesting. So if I query for it, I get the IP. Did I mistype it? I'm going crazy. That's working. Dig is working, but ping isn't. Okay, that's a problem, because if I cannot query that directly, I can ping it, right? That's working. Takes ages, whatever, but that's working. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, I'm just going to force it here, maybe just for the sake of testing. Just going to paste that here, and I'm going to call it this, what was the name? Alpine small VM underscore peer internal. Right? So if I do thing on that, that resolves, that works. Yeah, the problem is what I just did there is not going to work when I do a new deployment of the host, because it's not going to be able to find that. Let's read again the document. Okay, I don't need the load balancer. Install the configuration, defaults. It took my name, right? Testing the tunnel. Okay, it's not that because my it's a peer. Okay, it's in peer, but peer is not resolving, or maybe it takes time to do it. When I do that, I get the name listed there. When I did dig, it resolves, it works, but not when I do ns lookup. Okay, so let's do this. Let's try it here. I'm going to change this to be a reverse proxy. That's going to go to Alpine small VM underscore peer internal, and the port is going to be 80 because that's the port that the thing works, right? Let's see how it goes. So if I do that, I will need to come here to the app and do fly deploy again. Fly deploy, right? That should rebuild and take this new configuration and push it. Okay. Create a new release. So what I have here, I'm just going to terminate this SSH session because that's going to get a new virtual machine on the apps. Here is deploying a new version. So this is the one that getting deployed right now. Okay, I'm going to go now to SSH into it. Okay, and I forgot to copy the big comments. Short. Just going to do a Alpine small VM underscore peer internal, and what was the DNS server? I keep forgetting about it. It's this one, right? Oh, again, yep. In tools. Okay, finds that. Can I do a ping to that? No, it's a bad address. For some reason, it's not resolving that to the peer. So peers are not getting added to the DNS. Okay. No worries. If I come here now and so this is a small VM, and if I refresh it, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Weirdly, is not resolving on the console, but seems that Caddy is resolving. Oh, okay, a good surprise, I will say. So that means it works, meaning that if I go to my Alpine VM, that is connected, and I shut down the connection, and I come here and try to refresh, I should be getting a 500 or something, like timeout, bad gateway, something like that. Well, pretty much, yeah, it's failing. That's good. But if I reconnect, okay, it's instant, so that's good. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to edit this file again. From flight 6pn, right? And that should be working. Yeah, cool. Okay, so okay, so this works. I will say the downside is that for some reason this was not resolving, which is weird. I mean, here if I do an slookup on my small VM to the app, the app's called Polish It Mountain internal, that's resolving. If I do that with the Alpine small VM, that's not resolving because it's peer.internal. That resolves. And look, the server here did work. This is a server that is getting. This one worked. But if I go here and try to do the same thing, so if I do an slookup to the name of the application, which is, I should have selected a simpler name for testing. That works. And if I try Alpine small VM, that doesn't work, expected. If I do underscore peer internal, that doesn't work, and that's the thing. Something that I noticed here is that the server is different than the server here. I wonder if that has an impact. What if I just edit the resolve here and use that name server instead? Nope. Nope, that doesn't work. And of course, if I ask for that, of course, it doesn't work. So it seems that this name server only works when connected to the Wireguard connection, not internally on Fly. Okay, well, bummer. But that's a good idea. Originally, since I wanted to try this to see if I can route small applications or things that I can do on my internal network without like going and having to host that on a VM somewhere, like on whatever is the provider, what will be the approach. So this is great as a first experiment, and I will keep trying different setups on different things, and seems to be working. Cool. Okay, that's all. Bye.